Hello, teachers and coordinators. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar. My name is Paige Sandy, and I'm an early childhood specialist with EC Learn. I'm assisting Karen Sherman to bring some history and insight about me and my school to you through these webinars. EC Learn has partnered with the Early Childhood Regional Collaborative to provide the Me and My School project. You've had a ton of communication from Karen and myself about me and my school, so thank you for your patience as EC Learn moves into this role. Karen will continue to serve as your contact and coordinator for this year's implementation. We put together these webinars as a guide as you begin planning your summer activities. We'll be talking about implementation guidelines and best practices for me and my school programming. In addition to these webinars, we will be hosting a virtual open house forum at the end of this month as an opportunity for you to hop in and ask any questions that you might have. I also want to take a moment and say thank you so much for being a partner this year. All of you have faced uncertainty and stress over the past few years in the classroom, and your willingness to push forward with summer programming for our incoming kindergartners and their families is such a testament to your dedication to your school and to your communities. You are the reason that me and my school has been such a success in the past. Thank you for sticking with the program, and we look forward to partnering with you. Here's our agenda for the day. Some of the things that we're going to talk about is the history of me and my school, why it was founded and its purpose. We'll talk about the project goals and guidelines for implementation, and we'll talk about recruitment and strategies and ideas for getting some children into our classrooms over the summer. We'll discuss the importance of family engagement. And lastly, we will talk about curriculum planning for me and my school. So first, a brief history of me and my school. Me and My School was developed by Dr. J. Sook Gilbert and Dr. Sue Griebling, who are both professors at Northern Kentucky University. Since they founded it in 2014, Me and My School has partnered with United Way and other community partners to serve as the kindergarten transition program for more than 2,000 students and their families in Northern Kentucky. And while Me and My School has a goal of increasing Brigance scores at kindergarten entry, the purpose for Me and My School is to provide programming for children that focuses on preparing them in all aspects for entering school by taking a holistic approach to kindergarten readiness. I'll talk more about this holistic approach when we move into curriculum planning. Nearly every school in Northern Kentucky has had a school participate in Me and My School since its inception, with some schools completing their 8th year of programming this summer. So some schools have been with us from the very beginning, and they've really reaped the benefits of Me and My School. And Me and My School is a very successful tool for incoming kindergartners and their families. I'll show you a little bit of data now. So this slide here shows some parent survey data. And based on surveys from families, we were able to determine that parent satisfaction in Me and My School programming has also increased from year to year. Parents have found that they had really good connections with other families after participating. They had good connections with their child's teachers, and they even noted that their child had increased interest in reading and math. But on this slide, I really want to point out the percentage that you see in the very middle of this list, and that is 99% of families found that Me and My School prepared their child for kindergarten. And this indicator is huge. Most of our families are not familiar with the Brigance prior to their child starting school. And even after their child, goes through that process, they still might not be really familiar with what that score means. So the 99% that you see here means that families found themselves and their child less anxious and better prepared to begin their school career based solely on their experience in Me and My School, not because their child, scored a certain number on the Brigance. And I think that that is just a really huge testament to how successful this program is.
Next, I'm briefly going to go through some of the overarching goals of Me and My School. If you have implemented this transition program in your schools in the past, these goals have not changed, but I think it's important to just reiterate why this project was founded in the first place. So first, Me and My School supports children by providing programming that develops children's approaches to learning, pre-reading skills, cognitive knowledge, motor development, and self-regulation. The way that we've monitored this goal in the past is that we have a goal of 60% of children who attend Me and My School to be determined ready through the Kindergarten Brigance screener. The second goal is to engage families through the use of a family toolkit, which includes materials and activities for parents and caregivers to do at home in support of kindergarten readiness. I'll also add that Me and My School engages families in the programming itself to support parents as their child enters kindergarten. So Me and My School is an opportunity to build the connection and bridge the gap between school and home, and to help break down any barriers that families might have that keeps them from engaging in school activities. And we've all seen those families in the past who are really hesitant about being part of the school experience, possibly because they didn't have a great school experience themselves, or they themselves did not have parents who were engaged in their school. We want to break down those barriers by making this a wraparound program for both children and families. And the third goal is to promote ready schools. Schools are asked to provide at least 2 events for parents participating in Me and My School, and at least 2 school-wide family outreach events at the school site. So school personnel become familiar with every child entering kindergarten, and also the families can become familiar with the school layout, the school procedures, school teachers before the very first day of kindergarten. So next, we're going to talk about some of the project guidelines for Me and My School. These were all laid out in the implementation plans that you turned in. Again, I'll be happy to answer any questions during the open forum on May 31st or via email, but you do have a copy of these guidelines in the implementation plans. So first, as a partner in Me and My School, it is the school's responsibility to serve as the lead entity and supervisor of this project. That means that outside of field trips or home visits, all programming should take place inside of the school, and all communication to families should come from your school. Again, this is a part of the really important part of helping families and children become familiar with the school itself before school begins. Also, to remain collaborative in this project, the school is asked to implement Me and My School in partnership with at least one early childhood community partner. Based on the completed implementation plans you sent me, many of your schools chose partners such as Northkey, your local libraries, the health department, and many other partners to assist you in programming for children and families. Some other examples that you could use if you're still looking for a partner might be the museum, the zoo, any other mental health providers or healthcare providers you're familiar with in your area, and recreation centers like the YMCA if you're close by. So you all know your communities best, and you know the available resources for partnerships. So I encourage you to be innovative in looking for partnerships that benefit both your school and the children and families. Next, as I mentioned earlier, Me and My School takes a holistic approach to kindergarten readiness. So schools have the responsibility of ensuring that lessons are interactive and integrated to incorporate all of the developmental domains rather than just focusing on reading and math. So self-regulation and social and emotional skills are oftentimes those skills that we notice incoming kindergartners are lacking the most. So those are two areas that schools are encouraged to incorporate in all aspects of your programming. And a significant portion of this project includes meaningful parent engagement opportunities. Schools are encouraged to be innovative in helping families complete the Family Toolkit activities. The Family Toolkit is a way to encourage learning through play at home with a caregiver. Later on in this presentation, I'll break down all of the pieces to the Family Toolkit and how families can use those at home. Moving along with additional project guidelines, schools are asked not to implement Me and My School in a silo, rather maximize opportunities for family engagement through combining Me and My School with existing kindergarten readiness programs. So that would be your kindergarten camps, your kindergarten orientation, if your school implements any summer feeding programs, kindergarten jump start, weekly activities. Those are all ways to incorporate Me and My School and really make the connection between those activities and Me and My School programming. The next bullet discusses those implementation plans. Thank you all so much for getting those to me. The implementation plan is your school-specific guide to how you want to complete your programming. If at any time you need to change activities from what you laid out in your implementation plan, such as changing the days or times of programming, please let me know. I'm here to support you with your specific implementation plans, and I don't want anyone to feel like they're lost or need additional help. So please, I am here to support you as you continue to incorporate those implementation plans. The guidelines for Me and My School calls for 54 hours of programming over 4 to 6 weeks. Again, this includes your kindergarten orientations and feeding programs, as long as you've incorporated those into your programming. I know that some schools had to adjust this just a little bit due to some staffing shortages and your summer school shutdown schedules, and that is okay. Especially from what we've experienced over the last 2 years, we know that things are going to look just a little bit different, at least for this year. So what's really important is that a consistent and predictable schedule is available to children and families throughout programming. We want to keep really open communication with families about what's going on. So that means if a teacher has to be out due to illness or a vacation or anything like that, those are the types of communications that we want parents to have, so that they never feel like, they're blindsided when they enter school and something has changed without notice. And at some point during your programming, I will be reaching out to teachers to schedule just a hello meet and greet visit. We very much value the feedback from both teachers and coordinators about programming, so we can adjust what we need to adjust in the future. So you'll hear more from me about these visits as you begin your programming. I won't be using a formal observation tool this year. I really just want to see and hear about what's working well and what isn't. The next two slides discuss recruitment strategies and ideas. Recruitment of children for Me and My School occurs in a lot of different ways. Again, this is an area where your community's best, and what works best when it comes to recruiting. So many schools have found it beneficial to recruit children and families for Me and My School at spring kindergarten registration. So most likely your kindergarten registration has already taken place at the time of this webinar, but you can certainly look back through those registrations and see who may fall in that gap group and contact those families and ask if they would like to participate. Me and My School is designed to serve those children most in need of help transitioning to formal school. So we also call this the gap group. One identified gap group are children who have never attended an early childhood program. So those children and families are usually the most difficult to reach, but certainly an effort should be made to reach out to those families, perhaps through a child find activity, and invite them to participate. Another gap group might be children who have a known disability or special need or may need extra support to transition. So you can work with other organizations such as Head Start, public preschool, and local childcare centers to identify children who would benefit most from this transition program. Also, many school districts have found a lot of success in door-to-door canvassing to promote Me and My School. Even if you come across homes where there are no young children or even preschool age children, certainly we rely on our community to tell you about people in their family that they may know who might benefit from this program. As I mentioned, there's an opportunity to partner with local childcare centers to identify children who might be in need of a summer transition program. So many childcare centers have had the same children in their care for 4 or 5 years, and they know their children and families very well. And they will be a very good partner in having discussions with families about the benefits of the program. Childcare centers know their children so well that they may easily be able to identify you who might benefit from a summer transition program. So please reach out to the childcare centers in your area who have children who funnel into your school. The preschool in each of your school sites is also a generous pool of children and families that might benefit from a summer transition program. So while these children have been a part of an organized environment because they've already been in your school for the year, they still may need some programming targeted on those really specific kindergarten readiness skills. So certainly reach out to those preschool families. Just a note for best practice, it's really important to supply families with a phone number and email that's manned during the weeks before your programming begins for any questions that they might have about programming, or if they'd like to register their child, make sure that they have a way to communicate even before programming begins. I'm going to pause here and pick up on part 2 of this presentation. Thanks for joining.